All right, first episode,
We're
Connor.
here, brother. We're
Chokehold
here.
Chatter.
We're back,
We're,
bro.
we're here.
It's been a long
So
time.
it's been a second.
Also, this will be the only
Yeah, it has
episode
been
you
a
see
while.
this. This will be the only episode you see this because I'm trying not to do it in every episode, but I'm gonna finish this.
Oh my gosh, he thinks he's Sandman out here, dude. Out here, don't do that. Don't do that, everyone. I'm gonna be the good cop, bad cop to this one. So,
Hey, you know what?
well,
I'm trying to cut back.
let's. That's good. That's good for you. What are you drinking?
Sweet tea, brother. I'm from the south.
Okay. Okay. You know what's funny? I'm in the South. I came down here. I was in West Virginia, as you know,
Yeah.
but West Virginia's pretty southern, and then went to North Carolina. But in North Carolina, I don't know. I was never much into tea, so and then I feel like I was really heavy into coffee in West Virginia. So I gotta look here, by the way, because you're like the
Yeah, my
monitor's right
camera's
here. I
right
gotta look
here.
right
So yeah.
here.
So
Yeah, because I don't want people to be like, "What the hell?" Especially because like where the camera's at.
real
But yeah,
fast.
and you know me, I'm Sprite all day, every day.
So
So
funny story about sweet tea, and then we'll move on into whatever we're gonna talk about. So I'm a big sweet tea drinker, and at restaurants like
yeah.
get sweet tea. I had a traveling job for a little bit, and I ended up in Jersey. Did you know they don't serve sweet tea in Jersey?
No, why?
They just don't. They don't do
Is
sweet
it
tea.
caffeine? It's like sugar thing. Like there's too much sugar in
They
tea, and
just
they're like,
no one makes it up there.
everyone loses that, right?
No one makes it up.
That's
It's not regularly served in restaurants unless you go to like a soul food restaurant where it's like collard greens, fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, like stuff like that. So
Nick's gonna be my favorite part of this of like these podcasts. By the
eventually, the
way,
next episode, I'm gonna
I want
blur the
it to
background.
just be like a reoccurring.
He'll be the reoccurring
That's what
like
I did
third
here. All
co-host.
right.
I don't know how to do the blurring of the background, so unfortunately, guys, you're just gonna have to bear with me until I learn how to
Teach you one day.
blur
So
the. Oh, I learned how to do it, but I mean, you can still
there
kind
we
of see
go.
him.
Oh, look at
You can
that.
still kind of see him
Where
a little bit.
he's the unofficial third
Yeah,
full-time member
yeah.
because
See.
it's just an ongoing joke. It unblurred his foot there.
Yeah, so he got
Somebody
like real close with his foot. I don't
fun
know.
with that. So,
But
well, we didn't go over like an itinerary list of what we were going to talk about, but I
no,
feel
this
like
first
only for
episode's
the
gonna be
first
wild.
episode. I feel like we just talked like we set ourselves like a 30 minutes an hour long time limit on these, but I think let's just talk about who we are, how we got here, our years of friendship. We don't have to go into the super nerdy of like how we met and everything, but I think at least get people like the gist of who we are, what we're planning to do for this, this podcast here. Of course, you probably see like other characters of our friend group and whatnot show up here and there, but primarily, if we are the Chokehold Chatter, all right. And I like having. You went with radio for a bit. I did regulator talk, so we're very
I did radio for
unorthodox
both
when it
of them.
comes to the names of
I did
podcast.
radio for both of them.
Yeah, but a lot of people were just like, a podcast, but
Yeah.
we went radio in one direction, talk in another, and now this time we're just chattering.
Yeah.
We're just having a little chit chat, a little bit out of everything. So
So
I don't know
backstory
if you want to
about
go first or if I should.
how like who I am and how we met. So we're about to go down a rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it's gonna get super
That's
nerdy
a very
real fast.
11,
So
11 years of friendship now.
it's 2024,
Yep.
2012, brother, 2012, maybe 2011. I don't
Yeah,
really
we were
remember.
youngins.
Yes. So
We
actually,
were,
it
we were
was
young
2012,
ones.
and the only reason why I remember 2012 is because WRP was huge on Facebook. So for those of
Yeah.
you who don't know what WRP is, it's wrestling role play, and there's different forms to it. You hear like the promo guys, you hear like the WRP. So WRP was like move for move, and promo war it was like I'm gonna cut a promo, he's gonna cut a promo, the better promo wins. Um,
It's just professional shit talking. That's all it is
it
at the end of the
really,
day.
honestly, it's professional
So,
shit talking. I think we've told that
yeah.
before. Um,
Yeah.
so I was running a not so good federation. Dominic was Dominic was on my radar because everyone had talked about Dominic in his home of professional wrestling. I created DRW and I had started shooting pop shots over the bow where people I know that he knew would get it back to him, and we began knowing each other by hating each other, because I would say I was the best at doing this, Dominic would say he was the best at doing this, and it eventually led to a very controversial podcast episode where we just talked the most absolute gruesome, horrible shit to each other. it was pretty bad.
What was the podcast site? I can't remember what is
Spreaker.
the. Okay, that's what I don't even know. Is that still a thing? Like,
Yeah,
because
no,
I
I
know
think
Apple
they changed it a lot.
podcast is like dominating, but Spreaker was pretty cool because it had like the little. I remember we had like a little custom intro, like
Yeah,
like
do like a radio
to it,
show,
and then it'd be like it would just be 3 hours of just
people
shit talking.
Yeah. Back then, I didn't let people know my real name. If you knew me in the EFED world, some people still call me this. Though I'm also trained to be a pro wrestler, so now the name's kind of coming back. A lot of people know me as Chris Hero. A lot of people in our friend group that never left that world only calls me Chris. Newsflash, guys, my name's Connor. But yeah, that's how we met, was wrestling role play that would later be known as EFED, and it started out pretty violent, but I don't remember when we became friends, when we got friendly. I just know it was a while.
It was probably only like a year afterwards.
Yeah.
It probably only was like a year afterwards. It wasn't like many years. At this point, we're talking like 2012, 2013. Yeah. So we're probably like 14, 15 at the time.
Yeah.
So I think give it a year, we're like matured and kind of just whatever. Wrestling's pretty red hot at that time too, with 2012, 2013, Punk especially.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we all are on the same bandwagon of New Japan at that point with Finn Balor and Bullet Club especially. So
the first event we ever watched together without ripping each other's heads off was Wrestle Kingdom 9.
You know, getting older sucks, because I had this conversation with one of the guys when I was streaming TW, and we were just talking about buddies watching wrestling, and on their channel they still are able to do it because they're in the UK, but being here in America, we stayed up till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning to watch this stuff, and it was pretty good. I mean, when you're in high school and unemployed and all that, and it's the summer or whatever, or it's like a break, I think because of Wrestle Kingdom, on like the Christmas break and everything, because it's in January, I believe, early January. So yeah, I think that kind of aligns.
January, yeah.
We would just chill and watch that, and it would be so much fun. And
it became harder.
Yeah, it was good time.
We grew up because the show would air at like
and now it's impossible.
4 in the morning, and
now they do 2 of them.
No,
and now. Oh, okay.
So how
good? I get that's kind of good.
Now is like the New Japan Wrestling Kingdom is like the first night. The second night is like their crossover thing that no one really cares about, and then the third night is like the Joshi, I guess, like when Stardom really has their like thing, because they did 3 nights last year and no one talks about the other 2 because. No, actually, that's a lie. They did talk about the one because that's when Okada got into the real shoot fight with the dude from Noah. Don't remember his name. Kaito?
Kiyomiya?
Something. It starts with a K. I know that much. Kano?
I think it's Kiyomura or something. Kiyomiya.
Something. Got into an actual shoot fight.
I think he was the champ. He was like the world champ too.
Yeah, he was. And
so
then Okada would later go into Noah and then actually have their match. And now Okada's in America being a mid-card champion for AEW. But who's going to say anything about that?
Make money, man. Make money. We got to get through the introduction first before we go wrestling, hot takes, all that. I mean, we're going to talk about more than just wrestling on this podcast. We love games, entertainment as a whole, pretty much anything nerdy we're going to talk about. So I think the only thing we agreed is we're not going to talk politics. So we're not going to be like politics podcast. It's kind of cringe. Yeah. Like, yeah, but we're like video games, all that, chill, just have a good time, hang out. Maybe a little bit of like controversial wrestling or video game takes, but that's probably the extent of that one.
Yeah.
I think I joked and said we'll save the controversy for Chris segments. So, but
I can't wait to have
but
him on. That's
yeah.
gonna be great.
So we got Connor. He's the con man here, and he's really got the con man tattoo. And guess what? Your boy Bolt. All right, he's got the lightning bolt tattoo here. Look at that. So it's kind of cringe, I guess, a little bit. So,
Show the other one.
well, you got
Bolt.
another tattoo.
No,
So,
show the other
but
one.
yeah, I thought we were gonna get controversial. It can be controversial. So
It's anyone that knows you're religious. That's not controversial. And it's funny because you're one
no,
of
it's
the
not.
only religious.
I wouldn't say.
You're one of the only religious people I know that I'm still friends with.
I wouldn't say religious because that's like shove it down your throat. You're
Nah,
gonna
no,
burn in hell.
There's a
So
different line. There's religious people, and then there's religious people.
there's like
There's,
those people. Yeah. Me, it's just me and my home dude up there, kind of just having good morals. But
my Lord,
to each their own. Like,
year,
oh my goodness, I didn't know CM Punk was retiring.
I was talking about John Cena, but all right.
He's not retiring this year. Retiring next year.
Okay,
You can't even get it right.
Yeah,
Come
whatever.
on. Come on.
He'll get it.
But yeah.
The next year, but whatever.
But yeah, you met me as VTech, and throughout the year, I think it's almost like a permanently retired alter ego at this point. It's like barely anyone calls me VTech. You might have a few that call me Tech, but it's mostly just Bolt or Dom nowadays. Like it's just down to my name or Bolt because the Discord name. And we all met. We were talking all the time on Skype, and now Discord's the thing. So it's funny because I still use it for work and everything.
I
but
don't think I've touched Skype in. I think when I first brought back ZFG Radio in like 2020, only because Skype would allow you to record the conversation, and I didn't have to have another software going. But it would take forever to save the video, so it would irritate me, and I stopped using it again. But that's the only thing that I used for a while was Skype, and then I found Discord, and it's been a wrap. But what? How did we get to Discord?
Skype hasn't changed. I can tell you, it was probably.
I don't. One day.
I think it was. For me, it was 2016. For me, it was 2016, and it was okay. I'm done with all the Skype drama, the high school drama, and at that point, I went over to Discord because it was like, I can tell you exactly the moment was Skype limits you to 10 people. You can only you pick your 10 favorite best friends, and that's it. All right, because after a certain amount, you can't video call, you can't all that, and we love like screen sharing and all that, and then like people could kick each other out. So like in Discord, you have all your buddies, you can have whatever, as many video call, multiple people screen sharing. This camera, I just did this. Now the camera's gonna freak out. Is it gonna do it again? Whatever. So yeah, my camera freaking all of a sudden is like. Whatever, but yeah, so Discord was it was like a tech improvement we needed because our friend group had like expanded, and it's funny because now we're back to, we don't even have like a full Skype group in our little chat of people right now. It's 9 people, like 2 more and we burst it, but it's top 9. All right, we don't have a top 10, so that's funny.
I actually just remembered how I got to Discord. And it's funny that we said we weren't going to touch politics because it was a political conversation that got me to Discord. Because Taven, some people.
He was your roommate at the time, right?
No. This is after that. This is after he goes back to North Carolina. Taven, I was working with Walmart home office, and Taven was like, "Hey, Mia wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." I hadn't talked to her in years at this point. Like I hadn't talked to her since 2016. 2020 at the time, and I get invited to what would later become the cataclysmic community chat that was that Discord server. Um, and then it would later, me and Zach would start Kami Cantina, and that's really became Zach's baby. But it was that was the first Discord server that I was in was Mia's, and then 4 servers later of them trying to repeat the same thing, getting the same result. Um, some people.
Were you in the disc click?
I was at the end of it. I was at
That
the
was
end
that
of
was
it.
the original one. Zach made it. I don't know why he deleted it because I
I
know
know.
then it went to like Dark Steel or something, and then it became
No. So Dark
Kami
Steel.
Cantina.
No, Dark Steel something. So
I'm pretty
Dark
sure.
Steel was never a part of us. Dark Steel was a gaming thing where we would all game with
Mhm.
like Aaron and his buddy and Wolfie and Josh and all them, and then that just became
Mhm.
like their server, like Aaron's server. And Kami Cantina was where if you wanted to watch wrestling and potentially shit talk, that's where we would be. And now Kami Cantina is just like Zach's thing. And like I have a Discord server for like my VFed I'm doing and like the podcast that I do and stuff like that. Along with like being in your Discord, and then our like small. It's not even a server. It's just like where we've been going every night to hang
It's
out
the
and
group chat.
play.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
the
just
group
the group
chat. It's
chat.
the
Yeah.
boys. It's it's oh my gosh, I forget where I was gonna go with that one. I was gonna say there was something funny about the you have Zach's VFed. You were talking about your VFed, the e-fedding thing to go full circle to how we met. Um, hot take for the 5 people that might know e-fedding out there listening. All right, somehow, or they Google it or whatever. I think e-fedding would still be alive and popular if they would have jumped from the Facebook. I'm talking about the Facebook group of guys in particular, from
Yeah.
Facebook to Discord, because Discord was way cleaner. Facebook was on its way out because they had made a lot of changes to groups. People were getting their accounts banned left and right because they had like the fan counts. I think if they went to Discord fedding would have been like perfect, honestly, because you could do the e-fedding side, you could do the v-fedding side together, one area, a promo slot, like a little Twitter slot. Like, I think that would be perfect. It's probably out there somewhere, of course,
Do you
but it
remember
would
when
have been red
promo
hot.
stealing was a
So,
thing?
yeah, dude, you know what's crazy? Now we have Chat GBT, so like I can only imagine what craziness people were like. Oh, I'm kind of lazy today. Chat GBT, write me a promo, trash talking John Cena, you know. So
I laugh because like I remember like why. So when Facebook Feds became a thing, it was like everyone just kind of like kept theirs open so people could come in, read the show, and be like, "Hey, I want to be a part of that." And then it moved to like, "Hey, close the group so no one can like see our promos," and because like I don't want them to
yeah,
steal
because if
everything.
Grandma's seeing you.
Yeah.
Well, no. If Grandma's seeing you shit talk people on the internet, be like, "Why'd you tell little Timmy that he wished his legs got snapped and he caught on fire?" Like,
So then it went from like closed to like private to where like you couldn't even search it. Like you could only it was like a bad like
yeah, you had to know
bad
somebody.
country club because it was like invite only. Um, and I say that because I was talking about like going for like one more night in e-fedding, and now as you say like Discord, I'm like, dude, what if we did it in Discord? Like, I make a Discord like for DRW and like see if I can't revolutionize the game again and see how many people steal my idea. But I know there's already stuff out there like that because like a lot of VFeds, there's the difference between EFED and VFed. For those of you who don't know, EFED is just competitive shit talking and somebody writes out the show. VFed is like you shit talk and then you have a created guy on some of the wrestling games and they fight the other created guy. And most of the time it's AI versus AI, but I know some people that'll pick up the controller and be like, Tech's not winning tonight. They try their best, but yeah, it gets very nerdy very fast in this world that we play in.
There's different like role play groups and all that. Even like D&D. I mean, we had our our days doing like the tabletop simulator, all that on like Skype and Discord. But I think like our friend group, at least, like it just over time, I think as getting like older too, and that's something you need like a buy-in from people and a commitment. Commitment's the hard one, honestly, is like getting people to commit to a thing, and with that, it's like it runs its course. And
I think a
I
lot of
think maybe
people.
eFetting was the ultimate commitment. So people were like, they did such a huge commitment in the mid 2010s. They were like, I'm not committing to anything else the rest of my life.
Not only
Like,
that, like some people, and I was guilty of this for a long time. Some people took e-fetting way too seriously. And
oh
still do
yeah,
to this day. Like right now, if I was to
yeah,
just say out loud one particular guy that doesn't like us, still to this day, if I was to say, and I don't feel this way if this guy watches this video, but if I was to say like that guy sucked at this, blah blah blah, somebody somewhere right now would be like, he said this, kill this guy, screw him, and thinking that my fake person that doesn't actually exist, this fake persona I made, is a real guy, and how
I'm
dare
gonna
him
kick your
shit on me.
fake butt.
Yeah, yeah, and like as a guy that now trains in the world of professional wrestling and has been in the business for about a year, I can say that I'm glad I grew up, because now when all the guys look at me and they go, hey, how are you so good at promos, I don't want to tell them why, because I'm not ready for that look. Like, I'm not ready for the,
Yeah.
this guy's a fucking nerd. Like,
Well, if they find this podcast, I'm just saying.
well, I mean, if they find this podcast, some of them know. Like, we've talked about it. But
Hey
like,
guys.
don't think I'm a mark.
So okay, all right. So Mark, let me ask you a question. When did you find out you want to be a pro wrestler?
The day I was born.
Okay, okay.
The day I was born. And here's
So
why.
after you shot out your mom's vagina,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Did you know? You wanted to be trained by a certain person, or you just like I'll find it along the way?
I can bring you to the moment that I myself can remember me going, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I was born October 5th, 1997. I'll throw a little piece of personal information out. If you Google that day, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, you may not even have to Google that day, because some of these things are just going to come to you. October 5th, 1997 was the day of Bad Blood. Cool pay-per-view, great name, love it. Also the very first time the Hell in a Cell's introduced. Also the day Kane debuts. Also the day Brian Pillman dies. Pro wrestling and me were destined to do this forever. But the day that I remember looking at myself in my grandmother's curio cabinet mirror, going, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, I was watching a VCR tape. For those of you who don't know what a VCR is, I'm not explaining it to you. Google. It's actually VHS tape on a VCR. I was watching the Monday Nitro from July 26th, 1998, when Bill Goldberg beats Hulk Hogan in the Georgia Dome for the WCW World Title. The entrance, the match, the crowd reaction, everything about that, I literally was like, I want to be that guy. And yes, professional wrestlers that hear this story and they go, oh, he wants to be like Goldberg. How much money have you drew? We'll have that conversation the next time I see you. But, he was the man, okay? And, like, I wanted to be him. Also, like, I had been introduced to, like, Hogan, NWO, WWF, The Rock, Stone Cold, who would later become, like, big idols of mine, and stuff like that. But it was that day that I was like, I want to do this forever. We're not going to talk
Much respect.
about. We're not going to talk about what I do in my childhood leading up to training, because that is very nerdy. And you're.
What do you mean? The guy behind you, we can't talk about. We can't talk about power bombing him and Ricky and all them throughout the
There's a
years.
YouTube video out there for it. The YouTube video still exists. But no, so like as a child, I would wrestle with stuffed animals with like the foam belts I'd buy from Walmart, and I wouldn't buy them. I was like 7, but my mom and dad would, or my mom. But I'd wrestle stuffed animals, little wrestling buddies they had back in the
Really
day.
buried your dad there.
Fuck them. Anyway, uh, I would wrestle stuffed animals, sometimes my cousins, and then later on in life, when I was
Destined to beat
blessed
up
with
them.
nephews, they became the next thing I'd beat up. So, there's a YouTube video out there of this one getting power bombed through a cardboard box. So, he took it like a champ, still does to this day.
It's something about nephews where they become like the human like punching bag apparently for their uncles, because Bolton and I'm not a big dude and neither is Bolton. We're literally the same height now. And our nephew Ziggy, we were all in the pool. It was like last month when I went to visit him. It was the last day I was there actually. And he looks at me. He's like, "Can you throw me at Bolton?" And I was like lawn dart? Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I just like lawn dart him like that. And so literally for like 10 minutes straight, it's just straight up like tossing him over, and then it's like shield power bomb. Like let's go crazy. So I don't know what it is. So,
Well, see,
but you had a lot of nephews to beat up that you still do.
well,
So
see, me and my nephews are very close in age. Like my oldest nephew is only
that's
6 years younger than me. So like I've been beating him up my whole life. He wasn't really so his dad and his mom kind of raised me. So like he's kind of like my little brother, and they're kind of like my little brothers. So I've been beating them up their whole lives too, and I still beat up my other nephew Roman. It's just kind of our thing. We wrestle together. I teach him some of the moves I learn in the gym. And some of them want to be pro wrestlers too. Some of them want to be future.
Oh my god.
Future.
Throw up the one, the bloodline.
State correctional facilities, but whatever. We'll see where they go, but no one wins a first round draft pick for the NFL. That's all I'll say. But
You're gonna have your own little faction though.
yeah, we're gonna throw up the bloodline. Yeah, we're gonna throw up the ones. They're gonna acknowledge me though.
They're the ones. You're the twos. So.
No, I'm the one. I'm the one. But so Dominic, what day did you
Honor.
realize you were a wrestling fan?
I can tell you the exact moment. It's so funny. It's cringy. I can always tell you. It was Carlito, actually. It was him. I was really young. He was just eating that apple backstage.
No.
He was cutting a promo on, I think it was Raw, of course. And I remember like coming in to my parents' room, and I was like, and when he says that, I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. I was like, that's the guy right there, dude. I was like mesmerized. I was like, Carlito is cool, literally. And then he went out and he spit in I forget whose face. I think it was like Chris Masters or something, probably at the time.
Oh, you skipped
and
the cool Carlito
I was hooked.
You skipped the cool
Carlito. Dude, I can't remember the exact. If I go back in history, I can probably find like the exact Monday Night Raw and like the year. But that's like young me. It's like I was like, boom, I'm locked in, and then from there it was like very key moments. I can tell you, like falling in and out of love of wrestling, and then consistently being like, all right, we're kind of just in this journey of life together now. Like big one also was me getting straight A's and was like, Grandma, you promised me if I get straight A's, I get to get SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 featuring ECW. Alright? And I did it. I got it. It was pouring rain in that day. Went home, played that game. I was like, this game's crazy. It was peak right here. I was like, on the PS2. It was amazing. And
so
it was a good time.
My favorite wrestling game to this day, like I'm literally downloading the game in the background. SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. It's a very popular opinion that it was probably arguably the best wrestling game of its generation. But I logged so many hours when I was a kid. Like I remember coming home from school, throwing the backpack in the corner, hitting the PlayStation, jumping on my bed, and that's where I was for the rest of the night. Rinse, wash, and repeat the next day. Like, I love that game, and it's only because, like, It wasn't the first one Goldberg was in, but it was the first because like Raw and Raw 2 were exclusively on Xbox. And
I love those Raw games because they had some of the most randomest. Like, all right, you're playing as Bill Goldberg, and you do a segment. Dude, you're missing out. Go download an Xbox emulator, play it tonight because it's the most randomest. Like, you'll pick your character, and you'll be like, I'm Bill Goldberg, and then it'll be like, what do you want to do tonight? And you're like, I want to steal Trish Stratus's panties, and then I want to like have a box fall on Chris Jericho's head. This is legit stuff, by the way. I'm not making this up. And then you'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go and cut a promo on Goldust, and like it just be the most randomest things for like your career mode too. It was fun. The game was kind of weird with like the gameplay mechanics, but I think that's just those early, before SmackDown versus Raw.
I remember seeing the cover for Raw 2, and it was like Goldberg, Scott Steiner, and Triple H. There may have been a few other people on it.
I think so.
But I saw that and I was like, I want that game. And my dad's like, you don't have an Xbox. But then SmackDown vs. Raw had come out along with like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and stuff like that for PS2. And like, I religiously played. I'll say this: I have never not played a wrestling game. Every wrestling game that has come out from beginning to WCW and WO Revenge all the way to now, I own them all. Like, I have owned them all at one time in my life. All of the games that have come out in the 2K franchise, I own digitally. Yeah, I'm that much into pro wrestling. Like, are all of them good? No, but
yeah, that's definitely true on that one.
They come and go.
Yeah, I think there's only one. I think there's only one game that I've kind of missed out on because that was when I fell out of love with wrestling. I think that's the next question for you, and that was SmackDown versus Raw 2010. Because at that point, like I was like, what happened? Because I had 2008, I loved it. 2009, I was like, where's my GM mode? Where's my GM mode at? And then I was like, that's GM mode, whatever. And then 2010 came out, but I think I'd fallen out of wrestling love at that point. And I played a little bit of 2011, and it wasn't until 2012 I was like, I remember WWE 12 like definitively on that one, playing that with a lot of the EFED guys too, and
that was
ultimately
of, like,
that would be
was 12.
friendship. Yeah, 12 and 13 was like the peak and like meeting up with Zach and everyone too from Tony the Pizza Guy's stuff that he was doing like call series. So ton of fun. So dude, he's doing stuff in North Carolina, and I can't believe I still haven't seen it.
Hate him.
Did you ever fall out of love with wrestling? Was there ever a year or a moment when you were like, I got too much going on in my life? Like, 'cause I think that's pretty much what happened to me. I was like, kind of like assholery. Like 12, 13. I was like,
I owe a mad deal of respect and admiration to Taven for this answer because it was the year of All In 2019, and I had watched at the time that the 2019 or the end of 2018 was happening. My personal life was falling apart. I had watched Cody win the Ring of Honor World Title, lose the Ring of Honor World Title, and then Dave Meltzer makes the bet on Twitter, and like I heard the rumblings of them doing an event, and then my life falls apart. My wife leaves me, I lose my kids, and I didn't really watch a whole lot of wrestling because I hit a very depressive episode. I tried to check out early a few times. I guess we'll put that way because I don't want to say the other word here. I tried to check out early a few times, and Taven had moved in with me, and Taven showed me progress. And I'd always watched like Ring of Honor, New Japan, stuff like that, stuff outside of WWE. But like I never watched like I'm not saying Progress is a super indie, but I've never watched anything more independent than that. And he shows me Progress, introduces me to Walter, Matt Riddle, Zach Gibson, uh, Flash Morgan Webster, Will Ospreay. It was the first time I'd seen Will Ospreay, and we'll get into that fandom later on in episodes, I'm sure. And he shows me Progress. I fall in love with wrestling again because this one event we watched together, it was Progress Chapter 70, Wembley. And it was actually, I don't think it was actually Wembley. I think it was the arena outside of Wembley that they did. But that made me fall in love with wrestling. So it was like, it wasn't a whole year that I was out of love with wrestling, but it was like the bet that Dave Meltzer makes and right before All In. That time period I wasn't heavily watching, and then I remember the first event that I watched from beginning to end after that, after my depressive episode and losing my personal life, was All In. I watched it from beginning to end, and I was like, oh, it's back. I love wrestling again. So, big props to Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and Kenny for All In.
Hell yeah. I'm wondering how many people like fell out during like the COVID years, and then now
It was hard to watch.
because of like going to stadium. Like, I'm curious how many people fell out during that, but then bringing people like Punk back, bringing the fans back, having the big old stadium events. You have really hot storylines, a lot of controversial, crazy stuff in wrestling and stuff going on. New ownerships, selling the company, Netflix, all this, and up and down popularity for AEW. Like, I'm curious how many people like massive. It feels like to me there's more fans now at like 2024 than 2014 when it was red hot. Speaking in like deep in the fandom, it just feels like there's more chatter, more stuff going on. Like, overall,
it's bigger attendance numbers, but it's not bigger ratings, and that's the fact of like. And a lot of people are like, oh, ratings matter, ratings matter. We live in a world of 2024. I can watch all of my wrestling programs with never installing a cable box into my house.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll ever have the real metrics on that in terms of like
it'll show
ratings
people watching
personally.
Monday Night Raw, but how many people actually watched Monday Night Raw because of websites, streaming devices, Discord doing
watching it together,
yeah. Going to a sports bar, seeing it there, like, I don't
Not
know.
only that, but then you have not only that, but then you have like the modern day of like attention span of people. They'll just go and watch it on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Like, they'll see like the highlights. So that's why I do a lot of wrestling, honestly, because there's so much of it.
I think the last time I watched a full episode, outside of like if I hop in a Discord call with you and it's like going, I'm not actively watching it. I'm like, I'll listen to it and I'll listen for like a little shit that'll like turn my head and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, but like the last time I sat down and 100% gave my attention to the beginning, middle, and end of AEW was like shit when Bryan Danielson challenged MJF at Revolution, the episode where that match became official. That was the last time I watched one from beginning to end. That, and then they announced that Sting was going to retire at Revolution the next year, and I was like, hey, like, so.
Yeah, Zach beat me up a little bit for that one, for not going to see Sting retire, because that was in my home territory. So, but as you're adulting, you only have so much. When you're adulting, you only have so much PTO off.
Yeah.
And it was like, see my brother who just came back from nearly dying of aplastic anemia, or seeing Sting retire. Some people would probably say go see Sting retire, my brother, but
I mean, yeah,
more important to me. So
we'll get into that conversation, but I was gonna get tickets to go see that, but here's one question. We've been watching wrestling. I've been watching wrestling my whole life. You've been watching wrestling a good clip of your life. Have how many live events have you been to?
It's crazy because I'm gonna say I've been to, I think one or two WWE events. I know one as an adult, and I think one younger, but I can't really remember. Because I think I was very young. And then AEW, I've been to, I believe three. I've been to three AEW events. So AEW's been more around my part than WWE, and WWE's always been Raw. But the Raw that I went to actually was very special because it was 2019. It was Ambrose returning to WWE at that point, and then AEW. I can't really say jack shit's really happened to North Carolina AEW events, sadly. But the one that did happen was Sting retiring, oddly enough. So I guess 1 out of 4 ain't bad, and the one I didn't go to, of course. But
So I've been to one WWE event. It was the Monday Night Raw that Curtis Axel debuted. So big pop,
hell yeah,
big pop.
I wish him
Uh,
well. Hope he's still backstage helping out,
is he?
raising or something. I think
I don't know what he's doing.
maybe. I know he did that for a hot second.
I
But
did. I went to the final battle where Kevin Steen turned on El Generico. I was there. It was
okay.
in Dayton, Ohio. And then I've been to like a bunch of like my promotion shows. I've never seen one of those.
Yeah, I've
But
been
like,
to like little indie shows here in like North Carolina and back in West Virginia, but nothing like an ROH or PWG or TNA or
well, when I
like
went
any of
to
those like
ROH,
these people would know. So
it was before like before they popped. Like before like. Granted, I guess yeah, because Kevin Steen put them on the map. I'll say like they got their fan base from the Danielson, Punk, and Joe era. Kevin Steen brought a little more to them, and then they fell out after Bullet Club left. So obviously, because now Tony Khan owns them, and I can't tell you one singular match that's happened on Ring of Honor television, not pay-per-views, television. Can't tell you a single one. 'Cause I don't
I will
watch
tell
it.
you this. I went to a collision, and that's when they did the ROH tapings, and we left early. It was like
So was
ROH
it?
tapings, and we were like,
So was it Ring
I
of
was like, we
Honor
can
and
leave.
then
I was like,
Collision?
there's nothing else good.
What was it? Was
It
it?
would be Collision and then Ring of Honor.
Oh, that's
Well,
horrible.
okay, so they would do. Here's what they would do. They would do like we'll start off Collision with like one Ring of Honor match, and then we'll do Collision, and then we'll do like 4 Ring of Honor matches.
That's horrible.
And
That's horrible. That's such a bad idea. WWE does their stuff right. They like do main event and then like Raw or like Superstars then
yep,
SmackDown because I remember
yeah,
I remember the Raw I went to. It was main event first, and the match was the Usos versus the Funkadactyls. No, not the Funkadactyls. The fucking Tons of Funk. And then I think it was Alberto Del Rio versus like somebody. And then it was Raw, and then we got 3 hours of Raw, and then you got like 2 dark matches. And I actually laughed at that show because during that Raw, it was the Raw after Extreme Rules. Ryback put Cena through the LED board, so Cena's injured. Cena shows up and wrestles in the dark match, and I was like, ha ha ha! No one understands that he's not supposed to be here, but I understand it because I read the thing. But also, real fast before we move on, a lot of pro wrestling fans have this opinion. When you were watching wrestling as a kid, and you didn't know about dirt sheets, you didn't know about surprise returns, does it change the game for you now that we have access to the dirt sheets? We know some stuff before it happens. They still manage to surprise us every now and again. Um, but do you wish you could go back to the time where you didn't know anything about dirt sheets and stuff like that?
oh yeah, the internet. As much as someone who works in the field of technology, um, it sucks. As someone who like at a moment's notice, I can just snap my finger and I have all the information for any little wrestling thing right now, and it sucks because you can't really like turn it off because you type in WWE on YouTube and you just want to find a clip from last night's Raw, and it's like every single news outlet for wrestling talking about it just because algorithms and all that, and it sucks because like yeah, I'd rather be surprised, but I know on the flip side people would be like, well, I don't want to watch 3 hours of Raw if it's gonna suck because they're just but I think it makes it a little bit better at that point too, because you have the unpredictability factor, and I don't think the unpredictable factor is there anymore. Sadly, like I could have told you Roman Reigns come back to SummerSlam. I could have told you that. Like anybody I didn't think was coming back. I've watched enough wrestling in my life that I could tell you. I told the guys, I was like, the Judgment Day is falling apart tonight. I was like,
Oh
I
yeah,
can
that
tell
was
you
happening. Yeah.
for a fact. Like, there were just certain things in wrestling after either just watching it for so long or because it's still a company, and if you're paying the guy, he better get his ass on TV. Like, there's just certain things that are going to happen. And I think the most interesting part of wrestling nowadays is the fact that AW exists. So there is still like a very, very small clashing of like competition, but it's not like hardcore, of course, of like, you know, the late 90s. I imagine late 90s were so amazing as someone who was a part of that because I was born, I was like one, I was like a little baby. Like, I imagine it was real fun because you had no one really messing with the internet, and it was competition switching between back and
Well, I
forth.
mean, the internet was
Whereas
nah. There was still some dirt sheets back then. Like the
I
dirt
don't think
sheets
people
began
really
in like
cared that
nah,
much.
because the dirt sheets really got hot in like '96, end of '95, early '96, because people knew about Razor and Diesel even before like people actually knew they were leaving. Like
Are we talking like buying like an actual newspaper, like
no, no,
Pro
no, no. Like
Wrestling
they had like
Illustrated?
the no, they had like those hotlines that you'd call, and like people would be on hotlines all the time. Like, oh, news just broke from WWE headquarters. The Razor Ramon's contract expires in 30 days. His last show's gonna be at Madison Square Garden. Get your tickets to see it. And then like, but Razor walks through the curtain, and the crowd's like, please don't go. And then they'd go to you sold out, and then he's all like, wow, they already knew.
Eh.
So like, the
I
internet.
guess there's like certain hotbeds of like smart fans because like where I was from in West Virginia, that was not like people.
I didn't even
We
hear
got
the
we got
term
internet. We
dirt
got
sheet.
internet in like mid 2000, right?
I didn't
So
even hear the term. Okay, that's a lie. The first time I found out what a dirt sheet was, and you know this website because we've talked about it before, I saw a YouTube video of Sid Vicious's leg break posted by NoDQ.com.
yep.
So I was like, I'm
Oh
going to go to
yes.
this website because I'm thinking it's endless wrestling. In a way, it was, but it was just like dirt sheets, rumors, results. So I kept up with TNA for a long time before I got cable.
I loved TNA as a kid growing up because I loved Deadliest Warrior and all the little shitty
Yeah,
Spike
yeah.
shows. Let me tell you what. When I found out that there was another wrestling show on television, TNA was my jam also because it was just perfect too. You had one day for Raw, one day for SmackDown. Hell, we got ECW in the mix, and then we got TNA, and then like TNA kind of comes and goes, for a bit for me too, even like nowadays. But I think as a kid, it was really fun to see like Deadliest Warrior, and then you got uh, TNA out there just doing their thing, and I got the TNA video game. I remember that, so those were
Dude, it was
a
so
lot of
good.
fun.
It was so
Yeah,
good. That game was so
yeah,
good.
yeah. Let me tell you what, AW Fight Forever should have tried to be a better version of the TNA video game and less of a better version of a game from the late '90s. Like I think
AEW
we went
Fight
for
Forever is a
yeah.
vamped up, roided up mobile game.
Yeah, I guess we'll end it on this because we got about a couple like 10 minutes left or whatever for our hour mark. Favorite game of all time.
Favorite game of all time.
That's a hard one to probably just throw on the spot,
Oh shit.
but it could be anything. Doesn't have to be wrestling. So
Probably Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War.
okay, okay.
Like
Why God of War? Curious on this one.
so
Which
okay.
like the new one, like
No,
the
like any like that whole saga. Like I'll pick up any of them
okay.
and just go. God of War because I'm a big Greek mythology guy. Like I really love like Greek mythology. Studied a lot of it. Um, Took a course on it in high school and stuff like that. Read about it a lot. Watch a lot of videos about it. Anyway, God of War because like the story, it plays like a movie. Plays like a movie. Um, just great. It's a great storytelling game. It's a great action game. The graphics, the gameplay. Sony Entertainment killed it with God of War, and Santa Monica Studios. They killed it. They are great at their fucking job. I love both of those developers. I mean, also you throw like the Batman shit in there because Sony kind of helped with that in Spider-Man, and then Red Dead Redemption 2. So I also
I
love
completely
like
understand that one.
yeah, that one plays
That's
like a
a
movie
fun
too.
one. Hmm.
Or give me
I
your
can't wait
shit.
till they get their own.
Yeah,
I've been pretty consistent about this one. I feel like for a very long time, I'd say Minecraft because I really appreciate a game where I can do anything I want. In one moment, I could
Minecraft's a
be
top five. Yeah,
my little Red Dead. I could be my God of War. I could be my little Star Wars, my Naruto. I could be just building. I could be doing PvP. I could be doing sandboxing. I could
building a
be
Kenny Chesney museum.
I could be playing music of Kenny Chesney. Just have a little concert with all the villagers out
before
there going.
before
"Meh." Anyway.
before we close this out, I gotta know why the Kenny Chesney Music Museum. Why was that a thing?
I don't know. So Connor's referring to back in the day we had a Minecraft server, and this was like the dopest thing. All right, you're gonna make me real sad
Cringe.
on this. We're
It's
talking about.
cringe.
You're
I
making me
love
real
it.
sad on this, by the way, because anytime we talk about Minecraft servers, I get really sad because they don't have like a dramatic, everyone killed each other, TNT explosion finale, nuclear end like I saw in like Yogscast as a kid. It was just like, no, one day we all just got really bored and lame, and we were like, okay, our 2 week phase Minecraft is over. Meanwhile, I
That
spent.
was months, buddy. Quit saying it was 2 weeks. There was months
Well, that's the
of
joke.
that
That's the
server.
joke. Is like people say like they have their 2 week Minecraft phase or whatever, once in a while. But the server was cool because it was everyone on Java could play, everyone on Bedrock can play, everybody on the consoles could play too because it was like an ultimate roided up version of cross-platform, which is really cool to set up. I think that's one of like the coolest little tech achievements I was able to do, and we had so many people playing and fun. Given, yeah, you probably had your cheaters, the X-ray is just inevitable or whatever. It's vanilla Minecraft, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, the Kenny Chesney Museum. You just gotta have stuff to have fun. Vanilla
It was
Minecraft,
so random. It was
or
so random. It's just out there in the like.
just out there, little musical church looking building. Like my problem with vanilla Minecraft nowadays that people get mad about me for because they're like, oh, we gotta add mods or have like this add-on pack or texture pack, and it's like I've been playing Minecraft for over half of my life pretty much, I feel
Yeah.
like. And so at this point it's like I need a little bit of spice to it, similar to like my wrestling games. Whenever I see like freaking 2K24 added like a light tube or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can have I got a death match in WWE. Or like I actually liked Fight Forever for having like the wacky freaking barbed wire thumbtacks, all this. So I was
Yeah, we
like,
spent like
I
3 hours beating the shit out of each other.
I was like, I can have a little bit of spice to it. It doesn't need to be consistently that crazy, but it's a nice spice,
Don't touch our dogs like
and
that.
it's just all the time. And so that's what it was with Minecraft. It was just a fun little Easter egg, adding like random stuff. But yeah, I think Minecraft is it's like the pinnacle. It's the peak of gaming. Like, because I don't know anyone that would really be like, "Oh, I hate this game, is awful." Because like you could do anything you'd want. You like, if you love battle royale, you love PvP, creative building, adventuring, modding, what, like you can do anything with it. It's hard to find games that you can truly do everything in, and games that give the people the freedom to do it and have like very little limitations I can think about, besides like, even though the engine's getting older, they rebuilt it and it's still great. Whereas like, I think, to go full circle with our wrestling fandom, the closest we ever got to that was Fire Pro Wrestling World, or whatever it's called. Like, that's the closest we ever got, but they don't have the functionality to do sandbox, like make your own match types and stuff. Like, it's just make anybody, any wrestlers, any moves, any titles. But the key thing, let me tell you something. If you want to make millions of dollars off of wrestling fans, if you want to exploit the hell out of them, all right, let them have their ultimate sandbox experience of make all your wrestlers, your belts, your titles, your story modes, your GM modes, your weapons, your match types, whatever. Let them have that, and do collaboration DLCs, because that is where I feel like Fire Pro, if they were still kicking, doing, and they were wanting to make a ton of extra money, they're about to make a bunch of money on new Dragon Ball Z game anyway. Same developers, Spike Chunsoft, I believe, but Bandai Namco and the whole shebang. They like they did pretty good with their New Japan collaboration. That was a lot of fun. They had their own custom story mode, this, that, the other, moves, theme songs, all that, the belts. But I think they even did it with the Stardom too. But I feel like they could have done even more. Like, they, and that's where I think Wrestling Code, like, that's a game like that's kind of says they're going in that direction, but we'll see. Like, I'm getting
So
tired of these broken promises games right now, and that's why I stick to
you talk
Minecraft and
about
all these other
broken
things.
promises games. I have the next episode idea right here, and I'll lay it out there now. Just
So we'll make a
people can be
list.
like, just so people can be like, oh, this is what they're talking about the next episode. This is gonna be great. The next episode we do, if we do it tomorrow night, I'm cool with it. I'm open tomorrow night to do it. Call of Duty. We talk about
Oh,
broken
it's just Call of Duty.
promises
I thought it
games.
was Broken Promises, the games, all of them. I could go for
I'm talking
the
the
whole
whole
hour
thing.
ranting.
Call
Okay.
of Duty itself. We're the
Just
whole
Call of Duty?
saga. Call of Duty.
Okay.
We could go 10 episodes for Call of Duty.
Just
Okay?
Call of Duty. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll go on a rant, brother. Like,
Right.
I'll let you know. Like,
That's our Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, like, or not Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart on WCW, like, and then it just cuts and it closes there, and you gotta watch the next week to see. Why did my camera? It was like, got real zesty there.
it's all like, oh, I gotta see this, yeah.
we got that. It just wanted to see this. It wanted to see.
Sure, yeah.
I got a Dragon Ball Z coaster that I like to flip around. This is like my own little fidgety toy or whatever I get.
I've been messing with my socks
But
the whole time because I've been trying not to light a cigarette during this episode, so
shit, like, you know,
trying to be a good
Where
boy
could
for
be?
episodes.
so I'm a little fire all of a sudden.
Don't want to get kicked off YouTube yet. Anyway, Call of
Well, my
Duty
friend.
next episode. Man, this has been. I enjoyed this. I had a blast with this.
Good.
Uh,
It was good. It just hour rolled on by. I mean, we talk anyways.
it's funny because
Longer than this.
we've talked about doing this for a long time. Just me and you sitting down and doing this, and we're here now. So
We're here.
we're here. I'm excited about that. We'll talk about the Wyatt Six and the Wyatt family in another episode, but I want to get Call of Duty opinions because I think that's going to be the light up episode because I'm about to
I
make some
agree.
kids cry.
I got some heavy opinions, man.
I do too.
My brain is just ready to roll and rant on that one
Yeah.
because I got so many emotions on that one. So,
Yeah, and it's
but
we'll talk about it.
I guess that's what we call it here. Pretty much, An hour on the dot. We did pretty good on the time. I think we have to end it one way. Let's see if he remembers. Everybody, you gotta throw him up. Throw him up.
Dust it off a little bit.
Oh, too sweet to end it off there. Alrighty. Well, gamers, we'll see y'all next time.